Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Fatal 12 on Nintendo Switch. Miharu derides herself before standing up. I shoot up immediately after, although it takes me a little longer to find the right words through a future.
違うよ、ミハル。そんなんじゃ。帰って頭を冷やすさ。それでいいだろう。先輩。もう一度君を騙すのはできない。
Miharu takes her leave, refusing to look back even when we attempt to stop her. I notice her biting her lip as she's leaving too. She's doing everything she can to hold something back. With Miharu gone, Naomi and I sit down facing one another. It pains me to know that I'm the one responsible for making Miharu feel the way she does. It was for my sake that she never mentioned anything about becoming a vessel. My survival means so much to her that she's willing to lie to me. She's been dealing with far more than I could ever have imagined.
Miharu senpai, 大丈夫でしょうか？時間を置けば大丈夫だとは思う。でも私の責任だ。私がスケールさんの言葉に傾いたから、ミハルはそれが不可能だと伝えるために。リンカ先輩のせいじゃないです。私の。ナオミのせいでもない。ミハルが一番辛いはずなのに、私たちがこんな風に慰め合うのはずるいね。先にそれを言ったのは私。ごめん。そうですね。あんな秘密を抱えていて平気だったわけないですもんね。女神の選定の秘密。ミハルは初めから自分が生きる可能性すら思っていなかったんだ。いよいよわかりませんね。女神様って女神の選定って一体何なんでしょうね。女神と対話していたって言ってましたよね。だとすればリンカ先輩の運命をミハル先輩は知っていたんでしょうか。うん、それはないと思う。だって夢の世界で初めて私と会った時のミハルは心底驚いていたから。そう思うとさ、女神の選定がなかったなら私は命を落としたままだったんだね。
It's also thanks to divine selection that the terrorist attack on that day was undone at all.
死の運命って受け入れるべきものなのかな。嫌です。
Naomi speaks up with a quivering voice.
先輩と出会うこと、先輩が私を助けて死んでしまうこと、私が殺されてしまうこと、先輩に助けてもらうこと、コーヒーの入れ方を教えてもらうこと、文化祭で模擬店を出すこと、ミハル先輩と喧嘩すること、ミハル先輩のことを知ることができたこと、全部が決まってるっていうなら私運命なんて大嫌いです。ナオミ、それに先輩たちがもしいなくなってしまったら女神の選定の期間中のことを私は忘れてしまいます。それも運命で決まっているなんて思 思いたくないです。だって先輩たちとの思い出は私の大切な。ごめんなさい。辛いのは私じゃなくて先輩たちの方なのに。
ありがとう、ナオミ。そう言ってくれるから私はまだ諦めずにいられる。
I don't want everything to be undone. My encounters, my accomplishments, I don't want any of it to be for naught. That being the case, I have no choice but to live, alongside Miharu.
ミハルの話は残るのが一人でなくてはならないって根拠にはなってない。それぞれが指名を防御して誰も指名することができなくなった場合のことを女神はその時が来たら話すと言ったんだ。
I can't recall if I explained this to her before, so I make sure to go over it again, just in case.
ダメ元でやってみるってことですか？
うん。それしかないならそうしよう。スケールさんともう一度話してみようと思うんだ。
先輩は先輩ですごく安心しました。
Naomi makes her way home after our chat in order to get back before it's too late. We're already coming up to the end of June, so the daylight lasts longer now. It's still nice and bright outside, despite being past 6. Seeing her off also helps me to reaffirm something important. There was meaning behind us meeting. I open up the cafe sometime after 7. I feel pretty bad about it, considering I saw a number of regulars pass by while getting the place ready. It's hard to call this place everyone's second home with my schedule, but I just don't have it in me to completely close shop. I'm willing to admit that this might not be the best approach, but so long as my grand gives me the okay, I want to ensure that the store remains open as much as possible.
なんかすっかり疲れるのにも慣れちゃったな。
That's the first thought to enter my head when I lay down after taking a shower.
ミハル。
My mind jumps to Miharu immediately after, however. More specifically, that expression of hers as she left. As for me... get in touch with her, why not?
やっぱり放っておけないよ。
She may be staying with family, but she's still alone, in a way. No one in her own home is truly there for her. She might be beating herself up as I sit here and think. I'd much rather hear her voice right now, so I opt to call her rather than text her. She answers before the first ring ends. Miharu says she wants to see the moment Miharu says she wants to see me the moment she picks up the phone. We decide to meet by Zojiji Temple, the very same place we brought Sophia. Tokyo Tower shines as brightly as ever. I'm not sure why she chose this place, but there's no denying that pleasant scenery can cleanse the heart. This place definitely fits the bill.
お待たせ、リンカ。すまないね。こんな遅くに。うん。気にしないで。私もさ、ミハルが心配だったから。
Miharu was wearing casual attire, much like me. Chances are we'd be stopped by the police if we were out in our school uniforms at this hour. Granted, one could easily assume we were delinquents being out this late with no proper excuse.
昼間のことも感情的になってすまないと思っているよ。羊さんにも悪いことをした。それも気にしなくていい。ナオミだって分かってるから。ありがとう、リンカ。
Miharu stares into my eyes as she whispers my name. I feel a strange relief knowing that she's here with me. It's proof that we're both still alive.
僕が前回の女神の選定の生き残りであり、女神の器であることまでは話したね。それだけではなく、どうしても話しておかなければいけないことがあるんだ。前回の女神の選定は17年前の7月23日から開始された。そして僕だけではなく、君の私の両親が2人。
I barely know anything about my parents, and it turns out that they were participants in divine selection, much like myself. I'd say it was surprising, but I'm more concerned about how to process this revelation in the first place.
ちょっとだけ待ってね。私のお父さんとお母さんが女神の選定の参加者で、でもミハルも参加者だったってことで。
But that doesn't add up. Miharu's birthday is later on in this year, December 12th to be precise. Noticing my confusion, Miharu goes on to clarify.
僕は中学生の時に1年間休学しているのさ。だから年齢で言えば凛花や真央より一つ上なんだ。え、ミハルって年上だったの？ごめん、混乱して何が何だか。
I do my best to organize my thoughts really quick. Both my parents were divine selection participants in the past. Miharu was a participant as well, but it turns out she's 1 year older than me. That would make her 7 months old at the time. Following that line of thought, I come to a certain revelation.
私、選定の期間中に生まれてる。
そういうことになる。僕にとって世界で最も尊い日の一つ、君の誕生日。7月27日は前回の選定が始まってから訪れている。
Boy, this story just gets weirder and weirder.
でも因果の時が7月23日ならさ、私の両親は私を産む前に亡くなっている。あれ、どうして私は生まれているの？
命はどこから命だとカウントする？僕にもわからない。けれど母親の体内の凛花が命であり、選定の参加者でなければ命がなかったことになるのはおかしいということなのかもしれない。
Some believe life begins the moment the mother becomes pregnant. Others believe that it begins the moment you're born into the world. Maybe it depends on when the mother considers her child to be alive. Basically, July 23rd was the day my parents would die, but not me. That must be why I was able to survive the fire and be born during divine selection.
だとすると、おばあちゃんが私を見つけたのは7月23日だよね。なんで？
My name's become something of a mystery too. Linka. She said that it was my mom who named me, and that she did so after my birth. The process of overwriting people's memories isn't perfect, but is that enough to justify this?
羊さんは改変された記憶を夢で見たと言っていただろう。同じような現象があったのかもしれない。どちらも現実であり、君のおばあ様は自分にとって重要な夢を選んだ。
うん。おばあちゃんは私の名前はお母さんがくれたんだよって確信を持って教えてくれてた。疑いなんてしてなかったと思う。
それで十分ではないかい。理由のつかないことは理由のつかないままでもいいと思う。女神も詳細は語らないからね。
It'll take far too long for me to fully accept these new revelations. Miharu looks as though she has more to say as well, so I should focus on hearing her out for now. Still, there's something I want to ask her before letting her continue.
前回の選定の時、ミハルはまだ赤ちゃんだったんだよね。それなのに、どうやって最後の一人になったの？
選定の参加者の中にもし赤ん坊がいたら、君ならどうする？
It basically answers itself. There's no doubt I'd do everything in my power to protect that baby. At the very least, I wouldn't be able to convince myself to gather information on it, let alone elect it.
私の両親がミハルを助けたんだね。
もう一人、幼すぎる僕を見捨てられなかった人がいるらしい。女神曰く、君の両親とその一人の3人で12回目の選定まで僕を守り、3人が同時に指名し合って脱落したそうだ。スケール・ジョーンズは協力者がいたことに気づいていたようだけれど、それが君の両親とまでは思い至らないだろう。
With 4 people left, the 3 were eliminated. That left Miharu as the sole survivor, thus the winner. I understand all too well why they made that choice. If there's anything that would prove my relation to my parents, it'd be this.
だからこそ、仮にソフィアが実際ほど聡明ではなく、オデットたちとも会っていなかったらと思うと、僕は怖かった。 君の両親が僕にしたことと同じことをするのではないかとね。
Sophia was wise beyond her years. She knew that she wouldn't live long, even if she did survive due to her illness. She understood the reason why Odette threatened her too. What if she was just your average kid, though? As Miharu said, I might have given my own life to save her. Of course, we're talking about things that aren't possible anymore.
もしかして美晴が私のためにってずっと言ってくれていたのは私の両親のことがあったからなの？
I asked this without a second thought. Her claim that she would give her life for me might be her way of making things up to my parents. Miharu wastes no time in replying. The tone of her voice is far more intense than normal.
違う、リンカ。それは全くもって違う。僕は君に嫌われることよりもそう勘違いされることを恐れていた。
どういうこと？
ああ、もう君はどうしてそう。
She covers her face with one hand, her voice somewhat distressed. I can only assume there's something else she meant to get across.
大丈夫。何を聞いたって美晴のことを嫌いになんてならない。隠してて辛いなら話して。
I approach her, gazing into the eyes she's trying to keep covered behind her right hand. There's about an 8-inch height difference between us, so this is the only way for me to get a proper look at her face.
君はどうしてそんなに。
She casts her eyes away and steps back before mumbling the rest of the sentence to herself.
美晴？
Her eyes fall back on me, though she refuses to face me head on. Silence ensues as we stare at one another. The light of the nightscape causes her eyelashes to shimmer.
わかった。僕も心を決めよう。ただし、ちょっと待ってくれ。3回深呼吸をさせてほしい。心の準備をしたいんだ。
Saying that, she really does start to take deep breaths. I guess it's something big if it requires this much courage for her, so I make sure to remain quiet until she finishes taking her 6th breath.
リンカ。
She speaks my name before falling silent again. I won't rush her. This has to be a revelation even more shocking than that of my parents being participants in the previous divine selection.
僕は君が好きだ。
私も美晴は好きだけど。
While not what I expected at first, it doesn't take too long for me to understand exactly in what way she means her words. Anyway, I answer her right away on reflex. The short time between that and my total comprehension of her words feels like an eternity. We're in a nice place at night with no one else around. She had to find the courage to say what would otherwise be a simple saying between friends. We spent so much time together discussing divine selection, a matter of life and death, that I figured she just wanted to be more direct for once. And knowing her, I figured she'd said it that way on purpose. But now it all makes sense. She never ever meant it the way I thought she did. I can't believe how dense I've been. No wonder she's made that black hole comment.
ちょっと待って。私の予想が正しければちょっと私の方が私たち女同士だよ。
関係ない。僕は散々君にアピールしてきたつもりだよ。獅子舞凛花。僕は君が好きだ。友達としてではない。恋愛の意味で。君の笑った顔も怒った顔も黒い髪も金の髪も柔らかい肌も身長が低いのも可愛い。決してスタイルが良くないのも可愛い。優しいところが好きだ。おせっかいなところが好きだ。必死なところが好きだ。危ういところも好きだ。凛花のすべてが僕は好きだ。
I've lost the ability to speak. Never before have I been this shocked by something Miharu had to say. She has the advantage while I'm still in this state, too. She continues to stare at me, her entire face having exploded into a bright shade of red. This is a new sensation for me. I never knew just how much one's heart could flutter when faced with the love of another.
あ、その、あれ、言葉が、
I shoot glances all around my surroundings in a panicked search for words. I desperately need help, but there's no one around. I guess that means I need to face the situation all on my own.
ごめん。
I cut myself off right away. Apologizing now would mean I've turned her down. I don't think I'm ready to do that yet. Not while my brain feels ready to burst at any given moment.
私、告白とかされたことないから、ちょっと日本語わかんなくなった。
くす、君はやっぱり可愛いな。選定の参加者と向き合っている時とはまるで別人だ。
I feel my capacity for speech diminish by the second as she stares into my eyes. She's completely different from how she was 10 minutes ago. I can't see her as the same Mishima Miharu I knew before. I always thought she was pretty, but the nightscape only serves to exacerbate that truth. That being said, I don't...
即答で断られなかっただけで、今は十分かな。僕の方がはっきり口にしたからかえってすっきりしたよ。
あ、そう。それはよかったね。
I can feel my breathing becoming more ragged. Miharu's next line yanks me back to reality, though.
返事は僕が死ぬ前に聞かせてほしい。
Alright, hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I won't avoid it. I'll give her an answer no matter what. It's my turn to show the same resolve that she showed me, after all. How I'll go about it has to remain a mystery for now. That's nothing new, though. I've faced these kinds of obstacles many times before. It's up to me to decide for myself. It's my life, after all.
わかった。返事は必ずする。でもね、ちょっと少しそれなりにじっくり考えさせて。
Miharu nods, a smile on her face. We head home next. While I may have bought myself some time to give her an answer, our walk back is awkward considering we're alone together. Can't say I slept particularly well last night. My heart was racing even when I went to bed. Part of me even entertained the thought that everything else I'd come to see and learn during Divine Selection wouldn't hold a candle to this. Maybe that's true, though. I mean, it makes sense, depending on one's viewpoint of how the human heart works. Even at school, I'm unable to keep my mind off it. Miharu and Mao get there before me, so I make it a point to give them a cheery greeting to try and switch gears.
おはよう。あ、リータンおはよう。今日はちょっと遅いね。そう？
やあ、リンカ。
みはる。おはよう。
There's nothing different about Miharu today. She speaks to me like she always does, but it leaves me flustered. You'd think nothing happened last night, judging by her attitude. Ma makes no effort to hide her suspicions by staring at us. Can't blame her when I'm acting like this the first thing in the morning. After battling my way through a grueling gauntlet of classes with less than a third of my typical concentration, the sweet release of lunch break finally arrives. Miharu has some business with one of our teachers, so it's just Mao and myself. Relieving, considering I'm still not sure I can talk to Miharu normally. I sip my vegetable juice before getting started on my sandwich. And the juice flies right back out of my mouth.
二人を見てたら丸分かりだよ。もうちょっと言い方ないの？っていうかマオ知ってたの？そのミハルの気持ち。知らなかったのはリータンくらいのもんだよ。ナオリンも察してただろうし、もしかしたらミハルンから直接聞いてるかもね。で、決めたの
？While vague, it's easy to understand what she's asking. The only thing that comes after a confession is a response.
まず、ミハルの気持ちをどう受け止めていいのかがわからないよ。私、告白なんて他にされたことないし、そもそも女同士だし。もしマオが私だったらどうする？知らね。
A quick and blunt answer as she focuses more on jamming a straw into her strawberry milk. She probably knew what I was about to ask.
でも、うちがわかるのはさ、ミハルン的には生半可な覚悟じゃなかっただろうなってことかな。リータンにできるのは、まあ悩んで、ちゃんと考えて、絶対返事をすることじゃない？リータンが断っても、うちは何にも思わないよ。ミハルンも友達に戻るだけ。別にうちらの関係は大して変わんないんじゃないかな。あ、でももし付き合った場合に うちがお邪魔虫でのけ者一人ぼっちになっちゃう？まあそん時はナオリンに話し相手になってもらおう。
Hearing Ma rumble on helps to cheer me up a bit. As she said, maybe I don't need to worry about this too much. I mean, I'll still take it seriously, I just won't worry about my answer affecting our friendship. Actually, wouldn't it change if I said yes? We'd be girlfriends, right? A number of questions come to mind, but I do my best to push them aside and focus on the fact that we'll still be friends regardless.
恋愛なんてテレビと漫画の中だけのことだと思ってたよ。
Mal's face contorts into horror at what I just said. Yep, definitely freaked her out with that one. I know more or less why. Even worse, I have no way to defend what I just said, so I try to change the subject instead. Fortunately, we managed to avoid bringing it up again until after lunch. If anything, I feel like I'd be able to set it all aside for now and hang out with Miharu like always. Friday. I spent my time thinking about both Miharu and Divine Selection. The possibility that both myself and Scale suggested of everyone being able to survive weighs on my mind again. Miharu would likely tell me not to bother if I brought it up with her. So maybe I should talk to Naomi about it instead. I haven't given up on learning the truth behind Divine Selection. Going through a bunch of books and hoping for the best might not be the best approach, but I don't want to stop. I'm a little more knowledgeable when it comes to the architecture and styles related to that place for now, at least. For example, the designs aren't just for show. They reflect the time periods in which they were made, and are a result of necessities from both those times. Let's put that aside for now. No need to be reserved at this point. I've already accepted that I need to rely on others to press onward. Seems like Lete snuck into my bed while I wasn't paying attention. That serves as a reminder I should probably change my sheets, with what with summer fast approaching. I laugh when I remember that we've had similar exchanges regarding politeness upon entry before. Naomi doesn't know about Miharu confessing to me. Mao said she's aware of Miharu's feelings for me, but I feel that it's best not to bring it up with everyone. Mao caught on without me saying anything, so I'll chalk that up to simple accident. The plan for today is to go through some books for an hour and then open up the store. Just as we moved over to our table and tossed a bunch of books and notebooks on it, Naomi hits me with a surprising question.
Senpai, もう決めたんですか? 何のこと？どうしたんですか？全員が指名できなくなる状態をまず作ってみるべき。それをスケールさんにもう一度話しに行くっていうのはどうなったのかなって。
A wave of relief washes over me. I nearly panicked over the possibility of her having realized the situation with Miharu. I haven't told her about my parents either. Miharu's likely to tell her soon enough. Knowing that, she might be a bit confused by my statement. That's the answer I've reached, though. Nothing will change it. I felt a real connection with my parents when Miharu told me about them. I'm much younger and less competent than they were at that time, but the fact remains I would do everything I could to save a powerless child. That fundamental desire serves as a link between us. In fact, that may very well have been what influenced my actions up until now. In other words, I've been acting on instinct. Everything I did for Kaiko, Sonia, and Shiketsugu was all by my own will, yet at the same time it wasn't. The blood flowing through my veins is what spurred me on. That all changes now. I won't let my blood or my instinct influence how I live my life anymore.
他の参加者を脱落させる。美晴と私の2人だけが残ってどっちも指名しない状態を作り出す。そこからは未知の領域かもしれない。他の人の命なんてもう知らない。私にできるのはその人の生きた痕跡を知って忘れないようにするだけ。こんな私でもナオミは一緒に罪を背負ってくれる。
Scenery from the park flashes through my mind. I told her not long after Divine Selection had started that I may not have it in me to shoulder the burden of eliminating other participants. Naomi offered to shoulder it with me back then. But the resolve I have now wasn't a factor before. I have yet to awaken to who I really was. If there's anyone I have to thank for doing so, it's...
リンカ先輩、今すっごくリンカ先輩って感じです。何それ。
Naomi continues, struggling to overcome her shyness.
そうですね。私が言いたいのは、これって今までと何も変わってませんよ。美晴先輩と2人になるってことも、私が重荷を背負わせてもらうってことも。だから心配なんていりません。
Naomi answers with a smile. Now it's all clear. Everything I do from here on will be of my own will. This is my path now.
ただ、スケールさんの行動が気になります。8度目の選定で美晴先輩を指名したとき、防御を打ち破らなかったのは、それをしてしまったら9度目に凛花先輩に指名されるからだと思うんです。分かってる。あの人は私を丸め込めると思ったから、あえて美晴と私を残したんだと思う。
It's entirely possible that I would have taken his suggestion to heart before Miharu's confession, too. It's far easier to think about ways for everyone to survive. Looking back, I was basically turning my eyes away from reality.
美晴先輩の話も受けて、きっと彼はそろそろ何か手を打ってくるはずだと思います。少なくとも自分の指名を引き延ばしできるような何か。
Just as Naomi finishes her sentence, the phone rings. Not my cell phone, the store's landline. All inquiries regarding orders and supplies go straight to my gran right now, and this isn't a place that requires reservations, so it's rare for that phone to ring at all. Knowing that, I prepare myself before picking it up.
お電話ありがとうございます。喫茶ライオン館でございます。
こんにちは、お嬢ちゃん。スケール・ジョーンズって言えばわかるね。君個人の連絡先はまだ調べていないから、ここにかけさせてもらったよ。
I make eye contact with Naomi when I hear his voice. No doubt she's realized it's him, too. There's something disturbing about what he said, though. The way he said it implies that he could find information pertaining to me whenever he wanted.
少し俺の話を聞いてほしくてね。君と二人でだ。警戒することはないよ。当然、女神の選定についての話だ。ミルククラウンというバーがある。今日の8時頃、そこへ来てくれるかい？
He doesn't even expect me to decline. Once I agree, he shares the bar's location. Turns out it's not too far at all. I can walk there without issue.
では、待っているよ。
The call lasts a mere 2 minutes.
大丈夫でしたか？うん。私と話したいみたい。多分、美晴は交渉の余地がないことを分かっているから、私なんだと思う。今晩、行ってくる。
Naomi looks concerned at first, but nods in agreement a moment later. I've never been a fan of the atmosphere in this part of town at night. I come in regular clothing, but that doesn't stop random guys from trying to chat me up. There are also plenty of drunks around, despite it not even being 8 p.m. I come across a sign that I definitely would have missed had I not known about it beforehand as I make my way through this awful place. The Milk Crown is located here. Its entrance is partially underground. Music from a popular rock band plays over the store's speaker. It's an all-girl band called Silky Strawberry, if I remember right. I've seen them on TV before. As for the customers, there's only one. A lone man sitting at the counter.
いや、この店は俺やフェデリーコ君が打ち合わせをするのによく使っていてね。すっかり常連なのさ。もっとも、フェデリーコ君は問題を起こしたようで、出禁を食らってしまったけれどね。おごりよ。何がいい？
ジュース、何でもいいです。
It's obvious someone underage like me shouldn't be in a place like this. There are numerous bottles of various types of alcohol lined up on the shelf behind the counter. They seem expensive, judging by the intricate bottle designs. Scale has a glass already. Inside is a slightly transparent fizzy yellow drink. Obviously, I have no clue what it is, but it doesn't seem like beer. While nervous about being in this sort of establishment, I make it a point not to let Scale influence me. I'm given a glass of mixed juice. It even has an orange slice wedged onto the rim of the glass. I thank him for it, and then Scale gets right to the point.
俺は自分がなるべく正義の側にいたいと思っていたんだ。
正義の側ですか。
世の中に完全な正義なんてない。議論されすぎて陳腐化してしまっているようなことだけれど、俺は真理だと思っている。例えば、残虐な方法で親を殺した犯人を少年が復讐のため殺すこと。どちらも犯罪だが、この少年を悪だと言い切れるかい？俺は言い切れないと思う。大切なのはあくまで心の持ちようだ。俺はたとえ罪を犯していても、この場合の少年は正義の側にいるんだと思っている。
どっちがどっちなのか、私にはわかりません。スケールさん、あなたは私に何が言いたいんですか？
悪だと思っていたアランやフェデリーコ、彼らの人生を思うと、彼らもまた正義の側であるとも考えるようになった。全員が指名して防御する。その方法を俺たちは試してみるべきなんじゃないか？
ミハルの話、あなたも聞いていましたよね。
Divine selection is a ritual carried out to determine a vessel for the goddess. While true that we would be able to live on, Miharu made it clear that things will become tenuous if more than one participant remains.
だから試してみるべきと言っているんだ。女神も最初の時点でこの可能性を俺たちが思いつくことを示唆していた。女神がどんな対策を取ってくるのか見届けてから、俺たちはさらに今後の方針を考えればいい。実際に女神が動くまで俺たちは何もできない。あるいは全てフェイクという可能性もある。女神は複数人が残った場合のことを、その時が来てのお楽しみと曖昧な言い方をしていた。そのことで俺たちに無意識的にその結末を避けさせようとしたとも考えられはしないかい？
つまりどういうことなんですか？
女神の器が一人に絞られなかった場合、女神自身が消滅するとか。
I gulp way too loudly. He thinks Parsa would actually disappear? That's a bit too much for me to process. I guess it's a bit easier to grasp when you consider the fact that she has to remain there. At the same time, I'd much rather understand what becoming her vessel entails, along with why she has to rely on the body of a human in the first place.
もっとも、俺もそこまで全てがうまくいくとは思っていない。けれど、ここまで生き残っていた5人ならば、どんな困難でも乗り越えられると思わないかい？
His voice is full of confidence. The way he speaks reminds me of some politician who goes around and makes public speeches. Chances are good that I can't conceal my suspicion towards him with that image in mind.
君が俺を信用できないのはよくわかる。君にとって俺は協力関係にあったミハルを指名した裏切り者でしかないだろう。これではとても正義の側にいようとする行動とは思えないね。だから一度、俺のこれまでの人生を聞いてほしい。君には俺の情報が知られているはずだ。もはやカードを取得されるという心配をする必要はないからね。
I say nothing, but he opts to continue anyway.
俺はスケール・ジョーンズ。誕生日は9月30日。天秤座だ。
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is Audapostrophe. You've been watching Fatal 12 on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.